Good evening, and welcome to USA Weekly News Plus. I'm Barkin Gabre, and we've got a lot to cover tonight. From the battlefields of Ukraine to the diplomatic chambers of Beijing, from the streets of Hong Kong to the floodplains of China, we're going to break down the stories that matter most. Tonight, we're diving deep into Ukraine's escalating drone war against Russia, examining the impact of these strikes on Putin's war machine. We'll also be looking at the escalating conflict between Israel and Palestine, analyzing the reasons behind the latest wave of violence. Stay with us as we unpack these critical stories. The war in Ukraine is entering a new phase, a dangerous game of tit for tat, as Ukraine increasingly takes the fight to Russian soil. Ukrainian drone strikes targeting Russian oil facilities have become more frequent and brazen.
These attacks, focusing on key infrastructure in the Rostov and Kirov regions, are crippling blows to Russia's ability to fuel its war machine. We're seeing massive fires, explosions that light up the night sky, a clear signal that Ukraine is determined to disrupt Russia's war effort by any means necessary.
These targets are not random. They're carefully chosen pressure points aimed at crippling Russia's ability to supply its troops in Ukraine. The goal is twofold: cripple Russia's war logistics and deliver a blow to its economic stability.
The Kremlin, of course, downplays the impact of these attacks. The message from Kyiv is clear: you hit us, we hit back.
The situation in the West Bank has reached a boiling point. The Israeli Defense Forces have launched their most extensive military operation in years, a wave of raids that have left at least 18 Palestinians dead.
The epicenter of this latest violence, Jenin, Tulkarm, and other areas known for militant activity. The IDF claims these operations are essential to rooting out terrorists and preventing future attacks.
Palestinian families are left grieving, their homes reduced to rubble. The cycle of violence seems endless, each death fueling more anger, more resentment, more despair.
The international community watches with growing concern, urging both sides to show restraint.
Across the world, another high-stakes game is playing out. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan recently met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in a crucial effort to stabilize the increasingly fraught relationship between the two superpowers.
The talks focused on a tinderbox of issues: Taiwan, the linchpin of U.S. China tensions, trade imbalances that have fueled economic anxieties, and the cutthroat competition for technological dominance.
Sullivan's visit, a rare face-to-face meeting in a relationship increasingly defined by suspicion and animosity, is a sign that both sides recognize the dangers of sleepwalking into conflict. But finding common ground is no easy feat.
The U.S. accuses China of unfair trade practices, human rights abuses, and military aggression in the South China Sea. China, in turn, accuses the U.S. of trying to contain its rise and interfering in its internal affairs.
The stakes are incredibly high. The future of the global order, the health of the global economy, the very possibility of international cooperation all hang in the balance. Chapter 4: Hong Kong silencing dissent, crushing freedom.
The once vibrant free press in Hong Kong continues to be strangled under Beijing's tightening grip. Two former editors from Stand News, a pro-democracy media outlet, have been found guilty of sedition.
The message is clear. Any voice that dares to challenge Beijing's authority will be silenced. Journalists are being arrested, newsrooms are being raided, and critical voices are being forced into silence. The world is watching as the promise of one country, two systems fades into a distant memory. Chapter 5: Iran's nuclear gambit, a path to diplomacy or a dangerous ploy.
Tehran signals willingness to resume nuclear negotiations with the U.S. This glimmer of hope comes after years of escalating tensions. Key factor: Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's approval.
Tehran recognizes the toll of economic sanctions. The Biden administration welcomes Iran's overture, but skepticism remains on both sides.
The U.S. wants guarantees Iran won't develop nuclear weapons. Iran demands lifting of sanctions and an end to American hostility. The road ahead is fraught with obstacles, but there's hope for a diplomatic solution.
Chapter 6: Namibia's stand, blocking arms, choosing peace. In a bold move that underscores its commitment to neutrality, Namibia has blocked a ship suspected of carrying weapons destined for Israel. This decision, a testament to Namibia's independent foreign policy, has sent ripples across the diplomatic world. Namibia, a nation with a history marked by its own struggle for independence, has consistently advocated for peaceful resolutions to conflicts. Its refusal to allow its territory to be used for arms trafficking aligns perfectly with this principled stance. Namibia's action serves as a powerful example for other nations seeking to uphold international law and promote peace. A wave of terror is gripping parts of India as a series of wolf attacks in Uttar Pradesh has left 8 people dead. Fear and panic have gripped villages across the region as the attacks continue. Authorities have launched Operation Badia, a desperate attempt to capture or kill the wolves responsible for these attacks. Teams of hunters and wildlife experts are combing the area, using drones and thermal imaging to track the elusive predators. The wolves are operating in densely populated areas, making it difficult to track them without endangering civilians. The situation highlights the complex relationship between humans and wildlife, particularly as human settlements encroach further into animal habitats. For the people of Uttar Pradesh, the fear is palpable. Every rustle in the bushes, every shadow in the night is a reminder of the danger lurking nearby. A new flashpoint has emerged in the already volatile Middle East. Egypt is vehemently opposing the deployment of Israeli troops along its border with Gaza, particularly near the crucial Rafah crossing. This is a red line for Egypt, a nation that sees itself as a key mediator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The presence of Israeli troops on its soil is unacceptable, a violation of its sovereignty, and a potential trigger for broader regional instability. The issue has become a major sticking point in the ongoing ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. Egypt, which has long played the role of mediator in this conflict, is now caught in the middle. The situation is incredibly delicate. Egypt is under immense pressure from both sides to broker a lasting ceasefire. From the soaring peaks of its natural beauty to the bustling streets of its cities, New Zealand is facing a new challenge: a faltering economy. After years of robust growth, the island nation is grappling with a perfect storm of economic headwinds. Inflation is soaring, eroding the purchasing power of everyday New Zealanders. Interest rates are climbing, making it more expensive to borrow money and invest in the future. Consumer spending, the engine of any healthy economy, is slowing. Businesses facing uncertainty and rising costs are putting investment plans on hold. The government is under pressure to act, to find ways to stimulate the economy and ease the burden on struggling families. Chapter 10. Australia's Immigration Gamble. Can new policies solve the labor crisis? Australia, a nation built on immigration, is considering a dramatic overhaul of its immigration policies in a bid to address a crippling labor shortage. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated existing shortages, leaving key sectors struggling to find the workers they desperately need. The healthcare system is stretched thin, the tech industry is crying out for skilled engineers, and construction projects are stalled for lack of workers. The government believes that attracting more skilled migrants is the key to solving this crisis. The proposed reforms aim to streamline the immigration process, making it easier and faster for skilled workers to relocate to Australia. But the plan is not without its critics. Chapter 11. Floods ravage China, Henan province underwater. The fury of nature has been unleashed on China's Henan province as torrential rains have triggered catastrophic flooding. Rivers have overflowed their banks, transforming streets into raging torrents and submerging entire neighborhoods. Thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes, seeking refuge in makeshift shelters. The floods have caused widespread devastation, destroying homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure. Roads have been washed away, bridges have collapsed, and power outages are widespread. Rescue workers are working tirelessly to evacuate those trapped by the rising waters and provide aid to those in need. But the situation remains dire, a stark reminder of the destructive power of nature. Chapter 12. Zimbabwe, at a crossroads. A contested election, a nation holding its breath. Zimbabwe, a nation yearning for change, is holding its breath as it navigates a tense and contested election. The stakes are high, the outcome uncertain. The ruling party, in power for decades, is facing its most significant challenge yet. The opposition, emboldened by growing discontent over economic hardship and allegations of corruption, senses a historic opportunity. But the process has been marred by allegations of voter intimidation, irregularities, and potential electoral fraud. The people of Zimbabwe, weary of economic hardship and political repression, are watching closely. They are demanding a free and fair election, an election that reflects their will and offers a path to a better future. Outro: stay informed, stay engaged. That's all the time we have for tonight. The world remains a complex and unpredictable place, full of challenges and opportunities. From Ukraine's fight for survival, to the delicate dance of diplomacy between superpowers, from the struggle for freedom in Hong Kong to the fight against climate change, we are living in a time of profound consequence. It's more important than ever to stay informed, to engage in meaningful dialogue, and to demand accountability from our leaders. Thank you for watching USA Weekly News Plus, and most importantly, stay engaged, stay informed, and stay hopeful.